Okay, so let's unpack this. We're diving into a powerful, decades-old struggle that's really coming to a head in the heart of India. We're talking about the call for a separate statehood for North Karnataka.
Right, and this isn't just about drawing a new line on a map. Not at all. It's a really deep-seated grievance.
A region that is just bursting with history, with resources, with culture, but its voice, for a very long time, has felt, well, unanswered.
Precisely. We've looked at sources that just lay bare the intense frustration here, and that frustration has culminated in a fresh, very bold appeal that just landed on the desks of the nation's highest leaders.
So the big question we're really digging into is this. Why do these 15 districts in North Karnataka feel so neglected? A feeling that goes all the way back to the 1956 unification. And maybe more importantly, what kind of powerful public support is driving this movement forward right now?
It's a huge political undertaking, and as you listen, you might want to think about what really stands out to you about it.
Let's start with the history, because you can't understand the present without it.
What's fascinating here is that this isn't a new issue. It's rooted in the very formation of modern Karnataka. The 1956 merger of all these different linguistically diverse princely states. It promised equality for all Kannada speakers. That was the goal.
A shared prosperity.
Exactly. But that promise, proponents argue, has rung hollow.
And when we talk about North Karnataka, we need to be clear, we're not talking about some small backwater.
No, absolutely not. This is a massive region. It's a land of ancient forts, rugged hills. You've got vast cotton fields, huge mineral wealth.
Give us some specific examples.
Well, think about iron ore in Ballari or the granite in Raichur. Culturally, I mean, you have the world-famous Badami caves.
Right.
And the Katali festivals. And it's not landlocked either. Uttara Kannada holds a really critical slice of the coast for trade.
So we're talking about 15 key districts. You've got Bidar, Kalaburagi, Vijayapura, Yadgir,
Belagavi, Dharwad, Gadag, Kapal, Raichur.
all the way to Uttara Kannada, Haveri, Vijayanagara, Ballari, and Davanagere. It's a huge part of the state.
It is. And that's why the core complaint is so powerful. It's this continuous pattern, they say, of injustice, discrimination, and neglect. And not just in one area, but across every single sector since that unification back in '56.
So the promise just never materialized for them.
That's the argument. The feeling is that it's been hollow from the start.
Okay, so this brings us to the present day. This long-standing frustration, it didn't just stay as a background grumble, it boiled over.
It did.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because it boiled over with a specific action from a very prominent leader.
Yes, on November 4th, 2025, a Congress MLA, Varam Gouda, he's known locally as Raju Kage, penned a letter.
A letter.
A very direct, very detailed appeal, and he sent it right to the top, to President Draupadi Murmu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the Karnataka Governor Thawarchand Gehlot.
He wasn't pulling any punches.
Not at all. The letter basically outlines all of these specific failings, piece by piece.
So it's not just rhetoric. He's bringing evidence.
Concrete evidence. He talks about irrigation projects that are just languishing, half-built, for years.
Which directly impacts farmers, I imagine.
Massively. Then he talks about schools, struggling with crumbling walls, and local industries. Despite all that mineral wealth we mentioned, they just stutter along.
While southern hubs like Bengaluru just soar.
Exactly. It paints a very stark picture of two different worlds within one state.
But a letter from one politician, even a detailed one, isn't always enough. What's the power behind it?
And that's the key. This isn't just one man's opinion. This is where the grassroots power comes in.
You mean the public support?
An incredible amount of it. Cage is supporting the North Karnataka Struggle Committee, and they launched a massive signature drive.
And massive means?
Oh, wow.
A few thousand?
Try over 1 crore.
1 crore, you mean 10 million signatures?
10 million endorsements from farmers, weavers in Gadag, students in Belagavi. I mean, the sheer scale of that public will it's just very, very hard to dispute.
10 million. That's a staggering number. It completely changes the conversation.
It does. It transforms it from a regional complaint into a national issue.
And the timing feels electric, right? Just before the state's winter assembly session.
Oh, absolutely deliberate. It's designed to dominate the agenda. And you have to know, this wasn't their first move this year. They sent memorandums to the president's desk back on January 3rd, 2025.
Wow.
And another to the prime minister's office on January 5th. Plus a recent plea directly to the chief minister, Siddaramaiah. They are applying pressure from every conceivable angle.
This raises a really important question then. What is the actual price of all this neglect, the human cost?
Well, reports from the region paint a pretty stark picture. You see consistently lower literacy rates compared to the rest of the state.
That's a huge barrier.
It is. You also have a patchy power supply, which cripples any kind of industry. But maybe the worst part is the migration.
The brain drain.
A significant migration wave of young talent. They finish school, they see no opportunity, so they head south for jobs. The very future of the region is packing up and leaving.
So what's the solution they're proposing?
It's simple, in a way. Proponents argue that carving out a separate state would allow for, and this is their phrase, administrative convenience and holistic development.
They want local control.
They want local leaders to be able to steer the funds directly to where they're needed, to the roads, the hospitals, to maybe even tech parks to keep that young talent at home.
The vision, then, is to create what they call another proud Kannada-speaking state.
Exactly. They're very clear on that point. It's not about dividing the culture or the language. For them, statehood is about finally stitching together a future that's fair. It's about fulfilling the original promise of 1956.
And to connect this to the bigger picture, they're not just pulling this idea out of thin air. They have a model they look to.
They do. They look at Telangana.
Which broke free from Andhra Pradesh back in 2014.
Right. They see that as a successful precedent. A region that was able to chase its own destiny, unlock tailored policies, and really focus on its specific needs once it had autonomy.
But of course there are skeptics. There are always risks with something this big. People who warn of creating fresh divisions in an already, patchwork nation.
And those are valid concerns. The counterargument is about the immense cost, the bureaucracy of setting up a new state capital and new administration. And then there are the really thorny issues.
Like what?
Water rights, power grids. How do you divide shared resources that currently serve a unified state? It could create a whole new set of conflicts.
So to summarize, we've seen the sheer scale of the frustration here, the historical roots of this grievance stretching all the way back to 1956.
And the incredible weight of 1 crore signatures demanding a change.
Right. 10 million people. The wait for development has felt endless for them, but the determination now seems just unyielding, like the Western Ghats themselves.
It really is. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it poses a fundamental question for a country like India.
Go on.
When a major region, a powerhouse of resources and culture, argues that statehood isn't about splitting apart, but about finally achieving the original promise of unification, how do governance structures adapt to that?
That's a good question.
What does this massive appeal really mean for the future definition of regional pride and autonomy across India? That's something I think for you to explore as this demand lands in Delhi.